won the regular season series a year ago 5-0. And Chicago will try to make a statement in this Commissioner's Cup game again. Indiana still very much alive as Boston and Cardoso tip it up, and we are underway. Clark coming off her heroics and that win Monday over the Mystics. Boston, a handoff to the dynamic Mitchell down the lane. Got her own. Extra look. Mitchell. No.
And if you're Chicago Sky that has struggled rebounding from the floor, it's got to make Coach Marshall a little unhappy. 3 offensive rebounds on that possession. You cannot give the Fever that many looks on goal. They're going to make them pay.
And Billings had the matchup on Cardoso there. Picks up her first foul, first team foul on Indiana.
Yeah, I was interested if Chicago would try to post up Mo Billings because she doesn't have the size for Camilla or Azare Stevens. So we may see some substitutions to accommodate that by Stephanie White at some point.
Stevens inside Cardoso, going at Billings, puts it up and in.
And Cardoso saw a huge crowd in Atlanta when they played 2 days ago. They're one-on-one versus Mo Billings. What does Shaq say? Barbecue chicken? I think that's what he says.
6'7", 6'4".
Good hands by Stevens, forcing the turnover. Diggins over to Stevens for 3. Too strong. Offensive board to Diggins. Here's Sheldon from deep, well off the mark, and Clark with the rebound for Indiana. Chicago a 2-0 advantage. Clark picked up the dribble. Mitchell averaging a career high so far this season. Boston, there's the matchup, can't hit the leg.
Really great defense by Camilla Cardoso. She had to guard multiple actions outside and inside the paint on that possession.
They're going back to Cardoso. Turns, forced to give it up, and a traveling violation.
And somewhere out there, Dawn Staley is smiling, watching her former Gamecocks go back and forth. You know, there is an ability to know when you played it with a player in college, know the tendencies, know what they do. So I'm looking at that matchup. It's gonna be fun.
Clark has deflected. Boston got it back. Clark, long range. Yes!
And that's the type of confidence I was wondering if Caitlin Clark would have coming into this game after hitting that game-winning shot. I mean, that kind of momentum can just hit a player and affect their confidence right away.
Sheldon with the answer.
And the Chicago Sky knocking a much-needed 3 down, have struggled shooting the basketball, just 27%. But the best time sometimes is an inside-outside kick to get going.
Boston showing that improved range. Boston shooting 42% from downtown. Diggins sees a double, finds Cardoso, who is fouled inside. If that's on Billings, that'll be her second.
And right here, Caitlin Clark comfortable, especially stepping into that left-right. And then inside out, that's the best time for catch and shoots. Again, Boston knocking it down. Listen, she's made 11 threes on the season. That's more than any of her previous seasons in their first 3 years in the league. So she's taking and making more threes.
Previous career high was 6 in a single season. So she's certainly been lighting it up and efficient, to your point, CP. As Stephanie White will put in Michaela Timpson in the ball game as Monique Billings picked up those 2 quick fouls.
Well, Grady, Coach White talked about Boston needing to stretch the floor, needing to be that post player that can provide space with their outside shooting.
Clark left it short. Here comes Diggins. Over to Stevens. Stevens blocked by Timpson. Clark now. Around a Boston screen. Boston. Gonna back down Stevens here. And a defensive 3-second violation going against Chicago. So it'll be a technical foul, and Clark will step to the line. And in comes Natasha Cloud, the veteran. Didn't sign with the Sky until May 5th, just 4 days before they went on their road trip to start the season.
Yeah, she was talking about how missing training camp has obviously slowed down her progression a little bit because she's doing so much learning right now, and while everyone else did that prior to the season. But she is really encouraged by what this team can be on the defensive end, and you know that she has the ability to lead the attack on that side of the floor.
That pass somehow found Timpson. Timpson under the hoop, can't hit. Back tap, chase down, Boston has it. Boston on the move and goes down hard.
And right there, just not seeing the ball on the inbounds. Jaquez gets back into the play, but then just cannot come up with the rebound. Coach Marsh said when we were talking to him in the coaches meeting, it's about not fouling and it's about finishing plays with grabbing the boards. And Chicago Sky does a great job of defending for 20 seconds and then just cannot come up with the rebound.
Good ball movement. Hall can't hit the three. Tapped out to Mitchell. Hall over to Clark. Clark and slapped out of bounds. Cloud says it was last touched by Timpson. And some challenge. I don't think Marsh is going to go for it this early in the ball game. Quick inbound. Boston. Three ball. Corner pocket.
And right there on that possession, a lot of finger twirling in the air. Got to get back and set your defense.
Diggins. Back to Cardoso. Inside, low position, and another traveling violation. She shuffled the feet on the gather.
Yeah, that was the right call. But what I love about what Chicago is doing right now is exactly what they said. Getting the ball to Camila Cardoso, forcing defense to have to either guard her one-on-one or bring another defender. But they know where to go early, and that has not always been the case, especially in the first quarter of games where they've got off to some slow starts.
Clark has scored or assisted on the first 10 points for Indiana. And a 3-second violation. Timpson was camped out in the lane. Second turnover for the Fever. Indiana's won 2 of their last 3 outings. In 2-1 in Commissioner's Cup play. They're the defending Commissioner's Cup champions. Diggins off balance, no. Hall, the strong rebound inside. Clark, pump, Boston, feeling it, driving, spinning, can't hit with the left, and Jaquez the board. Pass quickly up ahead, Cloud, can't finish. Mitchell, quickly to Hull. Hull, step through, and foul.
Chicago, number 0.
Neither team shooting well. Chicago 2 for 7 in the start. Indiana, meanwhile, just 3 for 12. As we take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule, coming up next on Prime, Phoenix at Dallas on Ion tomorrow. Toronto at Washington, Golden State at Seattle, Peacock NBC Sports Network Saturday, Indiana at Connecticut, and then on CBS Saturday, Minnesota at Las Vegas. For more on these games, go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. Boston will take a seat. Maisha Hines-Allen will check in for Indiana, and Hines-Allen has provided some quality minutes early on this season for Indiana. Halfway through this first quarter, Indiana by 5. Cardoso, dump off. Stevens blocked by Timpson. Stevens got it back. Hits the reverse plus the foul.
And right there, big on big crime. Cardoso doing a great job passing out. There are losses, that's what it comes down to. And so in these type of games, you don't want to just win. You're really trying to extend the lead.
Want to blow out your opponents. We have not seen a Commissioner's Cup title or a team win the Commissioner's Cup title twice. Seattle's won it, Las Vegas, New York, Minnesota, and the Fever last year. Hines-Allen Over to Clark. Clark through a crowd, finds Raven Johnson for three.
And that's the gravity of Caitlin Clark. If you're gonna come off strong side corner, she's gonna make that pass. Raven doing a great job of knocking it down.
The South Carolina love in this ball game. Here's Diggins. Around a Stevens screen. Stevens out to Banham. Can't hit. Cardoso battling for the offensive rebound. Fresh 14. Banham flicks the wrist. Off the mark again. Another offensive board. Banham. Third time is not a charm. And here comes Clark. Hines Allen. Nice feed. Mitchell for two.
And there's a reason why Kelsey Mitchell is top 4 under 6 foot in scoring in the paint. It's because of plays like that. She can do it off the bounce, but also off of cuts.
This is Diggins, hard drive, can't hit. Clark pushing the tempo for Indiana. Clark fading away, got the roll.
Wait a minute. I think on the Post Moves podcast, you asked Caitlin if she had a post move. That looked like a pretty good one to me, Candace.
Well, she's showing out in that mid post. I like that little fade with the right foot up.
Said barbecue chicken earlier. 13-3 run by Indiana. And Cardoso
Okay,
couldn't
post
control
up.
it.
The post up.
Right here, Candace just talked about it. The gravity of Caitlin Clark. Rachel Banham just leaves Raven Johnson for a moment. And good on the rookie to get that shot up and in. And Kelsey Mitchell is on my first team all WNBA back cut. Like, you're going to get one of those. And how about with the leg kick? Okay, Caitlin.
Well, she came over to the table just a second ago. I had to shout out the post up move. You're right. Little mid post action. The post game is very much alive. I know we like shooting threes, but that's the bread and butter right there.
Ty Harris in for Indiana. This is Clark cutting to the rim, puts it up and off. Fouled, and will go to the line. And foul is on Natasha Cloud. It's going to be the third team foul on Chicago.
And so far, I love what they're doing with Caitlin Clark. They're putting her on the ball, but they're also allowing her to set away screens and get loose off of cuts, which allows her to get going downhill. Also allowing her to set away screens and get loose off of cuts, which allows her
To win the ball game, but otherwise a 90% foul shooter. Hit two there. Blitzing Gabriela Jaquez and picks up the foul.
This is an important possession for Chicago. They've had a few empty possessions. Drive by Skylar Diggins, couldn't get it to go. Rachel Banham had several good looks at three here, but you got to find a way to get a bucket right here as Indiana starts to pick up the pace.
Well, the Sky were scoring in their half-court offense off of post-up plays, with Cardoso going to the bench. They haven't run many sets to get their post look.
Cloud off the heel, back tap by Williams. Cloud on a reload, over to Stevens. Stevens left it short, rebound Timpson. This is Clark, too strong. And Stevens, they say last touch by Timpson, out of bounds. It'll be Chicago ball.
And in this lineup, I think Azurá Stevens has to be featured on the offensive end. Like, they've got to get her the ball in her spots and allow her to take advantage of her matchups.
Chicago has to find some offense. They've missed 11 straight shots and just had a turnover. Clark. Pocket pass. Timpson under the hoop. And no foul call. It's just going to remain Indiana ball.
And Timpson's activity in game. Yeah, because she's active, she's long, she's athletic, and she's a great screen setter.
And she's been cutting with more intention through the lane.
Boston over to Harris. Harris with the finish. Thirteen-point advantage for Indiana. Williams blocked by Boston. Nice look inside, and that snaps a streak of 12 straight misses for Chicago.
Good pass by Elizabeth Williams. Indiana fell asleep defensively there.
Good hands by Jaquez. Rookie out of UCLA forcing the turnover. Here is Jaquez. Quick trigger, no good. They are 1 for 9 from downtown. Clark, right to the rim.
And if you're Chicago, obviously Indiana is going to score the basketball. They score top 5 in the league. You're going to have to rely some on your defense, but your offense has to get you through some of these possessions, as it is a little stagnant. They need to move the ball from one side to the other.
Banham just had it snatched away by Boston. Took it around her back. Clark rifles a pass to Boston for 2. What a sequence. A 3-second difference between the shot and game clock. Cloud over to Jaquez, pump, drive, Jaquez. Over to Jaquez, pump, drive, Jaquez finishes with the left. Harris now, 3 seconds. He's from half court, no good, but a dump.
Move. Did I say that right?
It's
Okay.
post move.
I got it right.
Yes, and you have to be in the post to be able to tune in as well as be a guest. No, but as Skylar Diggins gets the and one, Aaliyah Boston is continuing to evolve her game. And I think we saw that last year without Caitlin Clark having the ball in her hands at the top of key a lot more. And you're going to see that evolution of her knocking down threes and becoming that stretch 4. But she also, and I'm a constant big sister, she has to remember to stay in the paint. That's where her bread and butter is. And that's what's going to make her great.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that she's got her highest usage rate this year, despite not scoring as much in the paint. But to your point, she is stretching the floor more. So,
and as a post player, your dream is to have a roster full of guards that teams have to go over on. Kelsey Mitchell, you have to go over. Caitlin Clark, you have to go over. They're going over on Ty Harris. So as a post player, you're able to take advantage of that through passing, also being active and rolling, because your big has to help.
Foul was called on Cardoso. Harris sizing up J.C. Sheldon. On the move inside, pull up, Jay drops.
Ty Harris's game is so smooth. You know, she played a huge role in Dallas, in Connecticut, and she's just that steady point guard that you know is going to come in and not make mistakes.
Sheldon gave it up. Jaquez made the catch and is fouled by Kelsey Mitchell.
And right here, you can't teach poise. Taking her time, knowing that because of the space on the floor, because of the players she's playing with, Ty Harris is going to be able to get to her spots, and she does that and rises up with that pull-up with the best of them.
yeah, she's starting to get comfortable in this offense, in her role. And she moves up a little bit in the rotation with Sophie Cunningham out, depending on what Stephanie White needs to do with rotation.
That's another turnover for Chicago as Cardoso in the lane, 3-second violation.
I think
Six
we've seen
turnovers.
how many 3 seconds violations on the offense and defense to start this game.
2 offensive 3 seconds, 1 defensive 3-second violation. He played 11 minutes. Hines Allen inside. Mitchell turns, scoops it in. That kind of get LaChina.
She is constantly cutting. She talks about the football workouts she does in the offseason, just planting and going and finding her explosiveness early. That is just tough to match up with anywhere on the floor.
Jaquez couldn't put that in. And here comes Hines Allen for Indiana, surveying the floor. There's a cutting Mitchell again. Deja vu. Timeout. China going back to Kelsey Mitchell's cutting. She's averaging 9.3 paint points per game this season. That is a career high for her. But her you have to respect her perimeter shooting, which makes her cutting so much more dangerous.
You do. We were just talking about the break, how you try to deny her on the perimeter because you don't really want her to catch it because she's so deadly there, and that's when she gets you in the back cut.
This is Koulibaly out there for the Sky. Hand off to Cloud. Veteran around a Cardoso screen. Back to Cardoso. Outside. Koulibaly didn't like the shot. Shot clock winding down, and it's a turnover.
See right there, you have to take that look. On the offensive end, you generate getting the ball in the paint, it coming out. You have to take that spot up three-point look. Otherwise, you see the result.
Koulibaly hesitating. She's 0 for 5 from three-point range this season.
And then sometimes it's about getting the right shooter in that spot too, Candace, right? Like knowing who needs to be on that diagonal kick out.
Mitchell. Hines Allen over to Clark. Clark on the baseline under the hoop. Puts it in.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark looks really good tonight. I've had several Indiana Fever games the last few weeks, and she has just got a different pep to her step. She's got her legs under her on her shot. She's moving well, finishing in the paint.
Out of bounds, Indiana ball. Clark, 12 points, 4 assists thus far.
Just attacking on the baseline, the reverse. I just think she looks springy, if you will, Candace.
And Coach White is moving her on the ball, and she's also moving her off the ball, which allows for her teammates to find her off of cuts to make things easier, where Caitlin doesn't have to generate points for herself.
Koulibaly hustling for the rebound, finds Cloud. Here's Cloud racing down the lane. Cloud off the window.
And that's what Natasha Cloud has done her entire career. Coast to coast, she feeds off of transition offense.
Clark, no good. Rebound, Koulibaly. Sheldon.
Chicago is second to Indiana in pace, but we haven't seen them really pushing the ball as much as I thought they would in this game. I mean, sometimes you have to look to attack the rim instead of waiting for the set defense, especially when your half-court offense isn't working well.
Right here, this is what Chicago needs Natasha Cloud to do. Great defense leads to offense in transition. You're scoring before Indiana's defense is set, and you're right, LaChina. Chicago hasn't pushed the ball, but honestly, they've been taking the ball out of bounds a lot because Indiana is scoring in transition and really able to get back and set their defense so they're not able to play in that free space.
Sydney Taylor, rookie out of Louisville in the ball game for Chicago. Lacey Sheldon getting some boo birds here in the building. Of course, had that fight with Sophie Cunningham last season, and of course, long rivalry and battles with Caitlin Clark dating back to their Ohio State, Iowa days. Indiana 35, Chicago 20.
Chicago.
And Hull thought Billings was in the corner.
I love a junk zone. Right there, Chicago mixing it up, getting Indiana out of their fluid
Consistency in their lineups. Obviously, Rakia Jackson going down was big for this team. In particular, she talked about some of the inconsistency in the veteran experience and needing some veteran voices to be on the floor. And they started to get healthy, but now it's about the identity. Foul call on the screen. I missed that. Is that what happened?
Natasha Cloud, the illegal screen. It looked like the best drawn-up play of the ball game for Chicago, but Sky with the illegal screen. This is Mitchell. Nice dump ball. Hines Allen puts it in.
And Indiana's offense right now is A to B. Chicago is not making them play off of just the first action. They've gotten how many looks on a guard to big in the lane. Chicago has to do a better job of loading up in the lane to prevent some of those layups.
Koulibaly, no. Cardoso puts it up and in.
And that's what it might take tonight. Second, third effort, crashing the glass by any means, and then just no one home on the backside.
It's way too easy for Caitlin Clark inside. Indiana started 0 for 6 in the paint. They're 11 for 11 since. 17-point advantage for the Fever. Cloud the fadeaway.
That's just the toughness bucket. That is just a vet who knows that they need to stop the bleeding by any means necessary.
Her second field goal of the ball game. Mitchell on the move, toss out to Billings, extra pass to Hull.
And I stand corrected. Chicago makes the adjustment. Indiana continues to move the ball. Hines Allen playing that point forward role right now, and it's looking good for Indiana.
Nice finish inside. Sydney Taylor with the layup. Clark sends a pass over to Billings. Clark, pocket pass, Hall in the corner. New Billings the offensive board. Out to Hines Allen. On the drive, toss out. Hall won't shoot. Gave it up to Clark. 5 on the shot clock. Clark driving, blocked by Koulibaly. Hall! Looking like Anunoby. Sorry, San Antonio fans.
Ouch, Grady.
Yeah, that hurt a lot of people.
It was reminiscent. And Cloud may have turned her ankle. Another turnover. Koulibaly has it and collides hard with Hall.
And if you're Chicago, you've got to end this half right to give yourself a chance going into this locker room. You got to try to get this within striking distance. Rely on your defense. Try to get some stops and see if you could get a couple buckets to go into halftime feeling better.
Indiana shooting 53% from the floor, and that should be, and it is a kickball.
And Chicago going back to that zone that they ran to start the second quarter, which has given Indiana a little bit of problems. I love a zone because it takes the ball out of your primary ball handler's hands, and it makes other players have to make decisions in the offense.
Hull partially blocked by Williams, and that ball is slapped out of bounds. Last touch by Indiana.
And any team that's trying to slow down Indiana's offense, you can't give them a heavy diet of the same defensive looks. Like, they're going to get comfortable. They're going to start to make adjustments. So I like the call by Tyler Marsh, and hopefully that continues. He continues to pepper that in.
Cloud. That was Taylor. On the drive, puts it up and in.
Beautiful.
The Rook with another play inside.
Really, really nice move.
Boston, strong back down, fades away, left it short. Stevens, the offensive board. Stevens, right down the lane, dump off. Williams puts it in.
We've seen so many buddy passes. Azurá Stevens, we're seeing on display her versatility, rebounding, running, and finding her front court mate.
Chicago showing a little bit of life. Clark kept the pivot. Pass deflected and stolen. Cloud, pass ahead. Sheldon with the finish.
And this is how the Sky have to play. Get stops on the defensive end and get out quick before Indiana sets their defense.
6 straight makes for the Sky. Clark got it back from Timpson. And an illegal screen on Timpson.
You see Taylor right there scoring over an extended Aaliyah Boston, and then right here Natasha Cloud. This is where she's at her best. Sheldon with a nice finish on the other side.
And that's how Chicago's been scoring. They've been driving the lane just like this.
Once again, timeout Indiana. And the Indiana lead is single digits. 9-0 run by the Sky.
And they're number 3 in the league in terms of what they give up. And so Chicago has to put their head down, get to the rack, and make things easy.
Chicago on this run, and the only starters on the floor for them are Stevens and Sheldon. As the Chicago run comes to a close as Mitchell hits the jet.
Do you consider that a clutch play, Lashana?
Oh, yeah, we need to have that discussion.
Oh, Taylor is feeling it.
As Taylor
the cross and the tray.
Taylor's come off the bench ready to play.
46 36-38, Indiana on top. Clark got it back from Simpson. And Boston battling inside with Williams. And Williams picks up the foul. First in the final 2 minutes on Chicago.
Well, you talk about bench mob. Natasha Cloud, spark plug, Taylor sizing them up. Sometimes the ball finds you with energy. And Taylor has come in, she's played hard, she's run the floor, and good things have happened.
Boston puts it up, well short. Simpson, the offensive board, didn't draw iron. Boston got to put it up quickly, and it's a shot clock violation. And Stevens and Boston exchanging words.
Two of Candace's young proteges, mentees, if you will.
Things getting a little spicy right now as Aaliyah Boston doesn't see the shot clock, a little extra after the play. I'm going to have to talk to her about that on Post Moves on Monday because she said she doesn't throw elbows. I don't know, LaShina.
Stevens won a championship with Candace in Chicago. Here's Sheldon right down the lane for two.
It's a free-for-all right now off the drive.
A 14-2 run in the last 3 minutes for Chicago. 5-second difference between shot and game clock. And another offensive foul for Indiana.
Just a vet play right there by Natasha Cloud. The refs reward players that fight over screens, don't die on screens. Natasha Cloud is one of the best at getting through those screens up top.
Yeah, she's been a spark plug on both ends of the ball for the Sky right now.
Chicago shooting 73% in the second quarter. Sheldon, cut off, over to Cloud, has to fire. And that's how the second quarter comes to a close. Indiana had a 19-point advantage at one point.